So we're going to answer some questions from our Instagram story, stuff that you guys are interested in and want to get some answers to.
First question, status on official support for Longstroke in Poly PDPs. I'm tired of living in sin.
It's never going to happen. So it's a total machining difference. It has little to do with the ejector, but what we found is the slides are internally machined differently. Poly matches usually work. We actually just modified one for a guy local this week. There is an edge that can sometimes drag. It did clear the ejector, but it was stiff, and we just slightly beveled that quickly, and it was able to clear. So the poly matches are generally good to go. We have instructions on how you can bench test it before you buy it on our website. It involves removing that spacer and making sure the breech face moves all the way past that ejector, but it's never going to happen, especially for the old 5 inches. It's just not possible.
Your favorite Walther, Glock, or HK accessory that you make?
Brass base pad for the P30 VP9 Skull Smasher.
I mean, I carry one of those on me every day.
They dropped for you. Super nice.
I still think my favorite's the Longstroke. Longstroke in a 5 inch is just fantastic product. And then with the 16-pound spring, it's not snappy. It cycles faster. It just feels a little more alive in my hand.
And our new Brass Plus 4s for the 18-round mags are really nice. And then we have a new generation. Maybe we should talk about that. Of our base pads launching soon.
We can. We don't have one here.
Should be launching next week. Hopefully next week.
Do we have one around?
And then no, but we've revised the attachment. We heard you guys and your complaints and concerns as far as using the 440 set screws on the rear to retain them. We know some of you live on the moon and need to clean your magazines every couple of rounds. So we've revised it to basically use our threaded bolt catch. I don't have one laying here. A threaded bolt catch pin that we make for the ARs on our Swiss and house. And so you use one. It's going to be one fastener that runs up through the front from the bottom. You use one wrench, 16th inch Allen wrench, and it's going to have a D10 that rises up from the front and retains the front of the tube. It looks like our MPX or Lancer magazines. It will require a tool. However,
grab the tube, the empty tube.
Yeah, here's what's nice though. So it's going to be a front load instead of a rear load. So you're not going to catch this springtail. It's going to be much easier to load actually too. It goes on much faster.
Yeah, the feedback that we've gotten from some shooters that are beta testing it right now has all been positive. We're still hammering out compatibility with different Magwells, but so far it works with Walthers with no Magwell and with the Walther Magwell. And yeah, I think that might be it.
Maybe the older Taylor Freelance, but we're not going to endorse anybody else's other than Walther because that's all we're testing for compatibility wise. But yeah, we deliberately spent a lot of time making sure that it would work without over inserting on the polymer guns or steel guns without Magwells too.
Yeah, stay tuned. We'll be more on that coming up real soon. Will we see more HK products? Really? Because a pimp sees quality in your work.
A lot to unpack there.
Thank you.
We looked into the SKs heavily to do guide routes for the SKs, but you're trying to do a lot in a really short distance, so we're not able to do that without some kind of two-stage spring, which is basically what you already have. Probably would not be any better. We're really liking the VP9 products that we have, especially for guys with ported guns. We just got some feedback from a guy yesterday who's running a Lucky 7 on his, and I think he was running a 15-pound guide rod, and he said it's just absolutely awesome. With all sorts of ammo. We like those. We like our brass base pads. Aluminums are discontinued.
Yeah, we like the brass base pads a lot. I mean, this goes with me everywhere.
But we're waiting on the CC9s. So as soon as we get one of those in hand and house, we're going to start making stuff for the CC9s. We were actually able to handle one the other day. It's a pretty nice gun, super slim, feels good in the hand. We're waiting on one of our YouTubers probably to cycle that out and into our hands. And then we do have that we launched that actually while this is sitting in front of me, as we've been cutting optics on USPs for a really long time, and one of the few companies that do direct mounts, but we were able to do it on a USP 9 because we created a plate similar to our 1911 plate that has the rear sight built in, and we started offering that service, and we think we can get that same plate to work on the P30s and P30Ls because the slides are just too hollow to accept any kind of traditional fastener without a plate. So we're gonna play with that. So that'll be coming down the pipe too if we can make it work. But we do have that available for USP9s and USP9 compacts now.
What is the life of the Longstroke? I understand this varies by ammo. Do you have a ballpark?
8 to 30,000.
Yeah, I think that's what we've got shooters that are at. We've got at least 2 shooters that are over 20,000 rounds.
Yeah, I think Nick Young didn't change his to like 40,000, I think, and then I don't know. Modern Samurai, I don't think he changed his. I think it was like 30 or 40,000. We get guys with over 100,000 through them, but obviously they changed the springs. But we've seen them start to wear out in as little as 5 to 6,000. If you're slamming them, you know, if you're using full power plus P 124s, just depends.
Yeah, the 16-pound spring we anticipate it having a little better life, a little longer service life, just because it's more resistant to reaching full stack. But it's how you use it. You know, if you're every weekend you go out and you're putting 5,000 rounds through it, which seems impossible, but I swear we have shooters that tell us they do that. It's not going to last as long. It's going to be more about round count than time.
Yeah, springs are cheap. It's quick to change. It's not a big deal.
Yeah. Let's see. Website is confusing with the packages we want to get. I'm going to turn that one around and say, send me an email so that we can talk about that, because I am having a hard time deciphering what you're asking. Chris, the video regarding mags, what fits what is confusing?
It is confusing just because Walther made it confusing.
Yeah.
18 round tubes, 15 round tubes. Somebody said we made up tube vernacular. This is a tube. This is a magazine tube. He's like, clips, tubes. This is a tube. This is a tube.
Yeah.
So there's 18 rounders and there's 15s. So.
And there's really only 2 grip sizes for the PDPs. You have compacts, which the confusion comes in with the compact, I think, because the compact comes with a 15 or an 18, depending on which model you get. But essentially, like Zach said, the tubes are, you have a 15 round tube and you have an 18 round tube. The 15 works in the compacts with just a base pad. The 18 is going to work in everything with just a base pad, but it will over insert in the compact frame, which is why it comes with the adapter that I believe he's going to grab right now.
Yeah, so I think the confusion comes in that, you know, you're trying to add capacity to this 18 round tube when you have a compact frame, but you have to suck up all this extra space that you see on the back of here so that you don't over insert it or you don't have a big gap. So like on a traditional magazine, if you're looking at them, you know, you've got all that extra space between the compact and full size frames. There it is. That's what I was looking for.
I have a compact.
So you've got to soak up.
Here, let's do the
so
bad
you can
way.
see the gap.
This is the bad touch. When you take a regular 18 and you put that in a compact frame, you can see there's a huge gap here. And if you look in here, I don't know how well we're going to get you zoomed in, but I can feel this when you push on it, hit the ejector. So taking up this space is the important thing.
And it's really not hard to bend that ejector.
No, it's not.
You whop on that thing and it hits it, it's done. But this one, this is hot, but you can see it takes up that extra space and bottoms out.
It's easier to see from here. But yeah, when you go to push on this, there's very little play and it's clear of the ejector by a fair margin. Can't be too much, otherwise it won't strip, but it works. But you can feel solid engagement here when this bottoms out.
And if you're not looking to add capacity, we call it our conversion sleeve adapter. And it's just we're making them right now actually, and it's just a flat bottom that's gonna take up that gap so that you can use the 18 round tubes. It's the same thing that Walther ships the guns with.
Yep. If you have more questions, you can shoot me an email or shoot us an email through the contact form, give us a call. We can walk you through it. It's not as hard as you think it is. It's just, there's a couple different options. Next question, any plans on a Glock 34 length guide rod? We make one. It's for the Glock 17 and 34. It's Gen 5 only. And that's where...
it will work on a Gen 4 34 though because they stick out longer. So I think that's the nuance there, and it'll be covered by that dust cover. So it'll work. I mean, like Chris said, the 17 rods work in the 34s.
Yeah. If you have an older one, like a Gen 3, that one we don't make right now. We've talked about it. We'll see what comes in the new year. See what we can get up to if it ever slows down. 17 round captured guide rod for a PDP. Good to go with plus P ammo.
Yeah, you just understand you're going to reduce the life of it. I mean, the factory is almost 19, 18.6-ish. So, I mean, and that's rated for The Euro spec ammo is hot, so it's probably closer to R, like 124 is probably closer to R plus Ps for some rounds. It just depends on the load. So yeah, I would feel confident. I mean,
it'll cycle.
Yeah, you're not gonna damage the gun either.
It just may not last.
Yeah, your round
until you retire.
Yeah, your life is gonna be truncated.
You guys are awesome. Keep killing it. Thank you. Maybe a Magwell that works with all sorts and kinds of base pads.
That's really tricky. We're going to do a Magwell next year.
We've been talking about it the entire time I've been here. It's just a matter of figuring out a way to machine it so that it doesn't cost $1 million or take us all day to make one. It's tricky. We'll get there. We are working on it. Is there a better, not so huge extended mag release for the PDP?
I thought Walther had one. Maybe it's just in their German web store, but I swear they make one with an extended pad on it.
We can sure look into it. It's not the worst idea, but I don't know. Maybe. Any plans on manufacturing Magwells?
Yeah.
I think we just mentioned that, but yes, we are working on it. Can the PDP match Poly use the Longstroke guide rod without abnormal wear? Abnormal wear to the match Poly?
Yeah, I think like how the 5-inch like it would collide. We talked about that earlier about how like it should work. It should clear the ejector, but check it because we've seen some that are like sliding across that face, and then we've seen different manufacturing on the slides too. And then we've also seen some people calling poly matches that aren't poly matches, whether the gun shop stuck a Magwell on, I don't know. But a poly match should work from everything we've seen. Just a couple of them have been like rubbing on the ejector, but
I'm guessing that's the abnormal wear they're talking about. It's going to be.
Yeah, just check it.
Going to have to check it, and it may require a bit of grinding.
Yeah.
A bit of actual smith work. You can always bring it in. Using your products in a gun of your choosing, what would you build and with what parts? I'll let you go first.
No. With our parts.
Our parts.
I mean, I like the 4.5-inch steel frame that we built. I really like that gun. It feels good in the hand. We're running a 4.5 Longstroke. I like the lock grips on it, the bogies. I'm running an MPS on top of that. It's pretty slick. I think that gun may end up with some porting on it as well. We may have to play with the spring rate, but I think that gun would be really slick ported. But it runs really fast. We put the dynamic performance trigger in it. Yeah, it's pretty slick. I like it.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the weirdo who actually prefers my HK that only has 1 or 2 parts on it that we make. But I guess within the parameters of the question, I would stick with the 5-inch steel frame. I like putting the Defender plate on it. I think that the Defender XL is a fantastic addition.
We like Vortex a lot.
This big monster hanging off the bottom of it with a 5-inch makes that thing so flat. And I don't know if you can see this on YouTube, but this is a 55-inch monitor, and that's my hand. So like, I have a lot of control on the 5-inch. I think that it fills out my hand better. Zach's 4.5 with the lock grip feels small, so I don't really. It's not my favorite, but 5-inch Longstroke, 16-pound, brass +4, Defender XL on top. I think that's about as hot a setup as we can do. Off subject here, but I see y'all like cigars. I'd like to send you a couple nubbers.
Yeah, send it if you want to send it. Chris doesn't smoke, and
I don't.
Smoke a very little bit.
Yeah, our address is on the bottom of every single page on our website. Can't miss it. Adding tails and front strap checkering to a 1911.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore. We used to build 2011s and 1911s from scratch for people, but we just our workload's too hot right now. We don't do that. I don't know where I would send people either. Everybody around here is getting out of it, but yeah. I'd just buy one that had it. It'd be easier.
That is the easy fix. Can you add dimensions or height of your plates? I'm interested in the plates, but I'm not sure if it'll raise it higher.
Every one of them is probably a different thickness. I think that's what you're driving at, like how much it raises the actual optic. There is some actual requirements there depending on what it is. That's why our RMR plate has positive posts to get more thread engagement. So it sits pretty low. Defender XL, it's got M4s that have to catch. So rough numbers, about 100 thou thick. 507K is very similar, based on the same thing. 509T is pretty low profile. It's probably less than that. 080, 070. Acro, same.
Same. Yeah. What's the difference between the XL plate and a plate for a Defender ST or any other DPP? We haven't tested it on an ST.
We really worked with Vortex to design that around the Defender, but I mean, it's Delta Point Pro footprint, but we really, I mean, we had an XL, we love the XLs, and we love Vortex, so we worked with them to make that just fit for their optic, but you can try it. It's Delta Point Pro footprint.
Yeah, or send us an ST and we'll try it.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris, send us an ST. Like 5 of them.
Is there a difference in durability when it comes to brass versus stainless steel guide rods? Short answer, yes. Longer answer, not really. If you think about rubbing a stainless steel spring on a stainless steel rod, you're going to, you know, kind of like carving the Grand Canyon. Eventually you're going to make this rod a little bit thinner, but not
millions of rounds.
Yeah, it's not going to be an appreciable, visible difference. With the brass, because brass is so much softer, as this grinds back and forth, you're going to fill your gun with tiny little bits of gold dust if you never, ever, ever clean it, or you shoot a lot of rounds between cleanings. How long is it going to take for that to add up to grams? I don't know. The brass is really targeted towards competitive shooters looking for an advantage, and the competitive shooters that we know are inspecting their equipment and they understand that these, you know, the brass wears.
And brass has style points.
It does have style points, but like, you know, you take this guy and you drag it behind a car and it's still gonna wear. Like if you drop it on concrete, it's gonna wear. If you drop it on gravel, it's gonna wear.
And brass is harder than aluminum, so I mean, you know, on the base pad side, it might be a little bit more durable.
Yeah, but on the guide rod, like
it will wear faster. That silicon spring steel is hard.
It's hard, yeah. So it's going to wear, but it's not. We've got a couple in development guns that have got lots of rounds through them, and they make the dust. But if you were to hold it up, unless you put a set of sticks on it and measure it, even then, it's not appreciably different. What spring would you run with a comp?
That's tricky.
It is tricky.
It depends on the comp, depends on the ammo.
Depends on the gun.
Yeah, a lot of guys are, I mean, 15 or 17, I mean, by and large. I mean, most people, if it runs with the factory guide rod really well, then 17 will probably give you a good impulse. If it's not running, I don't know, because Lucky 7s, and we built custom rods for a few different instructors. I don't know, you're gonna have to experiment. Probably Ultramass.
Ultramass with tuner pack.
If it's our comp, if it's Parker Mountain, then it will work. And then I would buy, tuner pack Ultramass and experiment with 15 and 17. If it's Harrington, then you've got to do captured. That's the next question.
That's our next question.
It's the only way it's going to work. The hole on the bottom of their comp isn't big enough to let the Ultramass articulate, so it'll get stuck.
Yeah.
And we very specifically say that on the website.
Yeah.
So it's something that they know. I mean, Parker, we work very close with those guys, good dudes, and you know they bought our comp or bought our rods and tested everything to make sure it's like the new PMX.
What is it? Pro X PMM. That's what it is.
That gun from Walther does work with our Ultramass, and when it's brand new, 17 pounds. We've had guys say that they're having problems with RTB until it breaks in, but most guys are shooting 15 out of the box and just running it. So
yeah. That Harrington piece, we're going to segue directly into the next question, which asks why it's not compatible with the Harrington. So compensators that thread on are generally going to be, you're going to be threaded at the top where it fits into the barrel, and then you have to have clearance at the bottom for the guide rod. Ours has a significant amount of room because, well, we designed it to work with all of our products. The Parker one has been recently adjusted to fit this. The Harrington, while if you can free fit it and it fits okay, as everything articulates, because your barrel tilts, as the gun comes back, you can see it actually spreads away from the guide rod. At that point, you get a little bit of insertion, and then it comes in at a wonky angle, and then it jams, and then it'll stick. And that's why. So if you wanted to run an Ultra with the Harrington, you'd have to get in there and open up this hole. How far? I don't know. Just until it works, essentially.
We had somebody say they drill it out to a 1/2 inch.
Good Lord.
But I don't know. I don't recommend that, and somebody's mad that they ruined their comp.
Yeah, that's a big hole. I ordered a 17 pound the other day, so this is reassuring that I made the right decision. I'm adding a ZR compensator eventually. Would I be able to keep the 17 for that, or will it just depend on ammo?
17 with the comp, he says he shoots 115s and 124s. 124 is going to like that 17. Comp works better with hotter, faster ammo, higher gas pressure. out the port. So on a 124 for sure, it's going to run great, and it'll run 115 as well. I mean, it will work with a factory guide rod, but some crappier, lower power ammo might give you some problems. But 17 it'll be fine, like because you're already reducing over the factory, you know, 1.5 pounds, so it'll be fine. You'll be all right.
What is the best choice for a PDP Pro SD full size? I can only assume they mean guide rod.
Yeah, 4.5. So then, I mean, an Ultramass with 17.
Ultramass is going to be the best fit. It's going to work.
Buy a tuner pack, play around. That's the best answer for everything. If you're unsure on spring weight, buy an Ultramass with a tuner pack. Then you can play with it. You can put an 18 in if you're shooting some hot ammo, 17, and then 15 if you got some soft range loads or reloads.
It's almost the exact same question. What should I get for my PDP Pro E 4.5 and 4-inch?
Same answer.
Same answer.
Play around. The Ultramass fits both.
Get an Ultramass. Practice squishing this spring on there so that you can do it with your eyes closed like I do. It's not impossible. It can be done. I'm just a regular person. I don't have fancy hands. They're enormous, but they're just regular. It just takes a little practice and a little technique, and you won't even think about it. Do you have a brass +5 extension in the works? Need the capacity for competition?
No, you're not going to get it to fit in the IPSC gauge is the problem. We barely fit with a +4. I mean, I hate recommending this. The MBX follower, some guys are with a different spring, which again I don't recommend. They're able to jam another round in there, but like that MBX follower is 3D printed and it is crappy. And so I don't know about getting a salt shaker or having problems with that. I'm not saying MBX is crappy. I like MBX next products, but that follower is kind of janky because it's essentially has no bearing surfaces. It's just a little ski. And it's 3D printed, and then they're using shorter. We use an 11 coil spring in those mags to give them lots of pressure. They're going to like a 10 or clipping down a 10 to get that extra round in there. You can do it, and I know guys that compete with it, but I mean, you're sacrificing reliability for that extra round. Just don't drop it.
Last question we've got here is the 16-pound spring still significantly softer than the stock spring setup? I did the math on this just to be sure. It is 14% softer. So I guess the question then becomes, is 14% a big discount? Like if you got 14% off of a product, is that enough?
If you lost 14% of your body weight, would that be a big change?
If you lost 14% of your lung capacity, like it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And it's when you're comparing the Longstroke to the factory system too, you're changing the overall stroke length too, so that effective, it's a lot. It's probably even softer than that because you're stroking 5/8 of an inch extra, so you're dividing that force by the force constant over that distance. So actually, it's probably even a bit softer. But 16 pound, to just an overall general comment, because I know Chris loves it. 16 pound feels great, and a lot of guys, especially even competition shooters who aren't shooting like super low power factor ammo, like the feel of it because the gun returns the battery faster. You're getting the longer strokes, so you still are attenuating it over a longer distance and extending that recoil impulse. However, it snaps back to battery with a little bit more force. Mm-hmm. I would say if like you were gonna, I hate to say this, carry a long stroke because you know this whole duty use thing. I mean, there are department rules and SOPs on that, but like that would give you more reliability. You're gonna be able to strip rounds better. I mean, we're going way off track here, but like obviously when you're jamming extra rounds into a tube coming to full stack, all the rounds are in contact, and you slam that in a gun and you're trying to strip that round while that rim's dragging on the next round, and you've reduced your spring force by 20%. It's going to go sluggish. You may have to bop the back of it. And so, you know, obviously for carry or whatever, that's not a great idea. So the 16 pound feels good. It's returning the battery much faster, and it's got a lot more force, especially for a dirty gun or dry gun. So
yeah,
that's everything.
That's the whole list. It's a good list, everybody.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for asking questions, and thanks for buying the product and supporting us.
Yeah, we look forward to helping you out in the new year. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And again, if you have questions, fill out the contact form, stop in, give us a call. Don't call on Christmas. We're not coming in. We're not answering your emails. We're not answering phone calls.
Yeah.
If you call on Christmas, we're going to ignore you.
And sorry about USPS. They're terrible right now.
Oh my goodness. I've been waiting for...
Buy route. It's the best $2 you'll ever spend. They will rebuy your package, reship your package, refund your money. They're great people, and they'll take care of you. It's worth $2.14.
Agreed.